Welcome students, I am Nafiza, your social science teacher. Today's session, we are starting the new topic money and credit from economics. Very easy topic, at the same time very important topic also. This lesson first page started with an interface in what way this money and credit should be taught to kids, and then they have explained the process of demonetization also. Hope everyone knows about demonetization. 2016 November, 500 rupee notes and 1000 rupee notes were been declared as invalid, and people struggle in order to recover the money. People standing in a long queue out of the banks. We have gone through all these phases, and now people have learned to go with the transactions, with the online transactions, ATM cards, credit cards, checks, and swipe machines. These are the things we are using nowadays more. So, and here sources from where they have gathered the sources of information also mentioned here. So, we are starting our lesson money and credit. Let's have a look at the major topics that we are going to cover under the lesson money and credit. First, we are going to start our lesson with the topic barter system, the earlier system of business dealing money transactions. Then we'll discuss about the evolution of money, how the money has evolved from barter system to the present of online transactions, and then loan activity of banks and the role of RBI, Reserve Bank of India. And then we'll discuss about credit. In credit, how the formal source of credit and informal source of credit, their advantages and disadvantages also. And then finally we'll end up the topic with the initiative. Suppose if you have gone to a shop, you want to purchase a chocolate. How do you get a chocolate? Simply if you go to the shopkeeper and you'll say I want chocolate, and he'll give it to you. No. You have to give in return to him money, something in return. Then he will give chocolate to you. So what is it? You are giving money to him, and in return he is giving chocolate to you. What you are doing? You are exchanging the goods what you have. You have money, he has chocolate. So both of you are exchanging the thing. So money acts as a medium of exchange. So before this introduction of money, how the people have survived? What is their idea of exchange? Let's discuss in this lesson now. So the use of money spans a very large part of our life. And here they are asking a question. Look around and you just say make a list of the things that you have purchased with money. Anything in our house, everything, almost everything in our house you have purchased with the help of money itself. The cell phone you are using, the earphones you are using, all are you have got in exchange of money itself. In many of these transactions, goods are being bought and sold with the use of money. Yes, it's a known fact that we have to give money in exchange to get something. In some of these transactions, services also, not just goods, services also been exchanged with the help of money. Services in the sense teaching, whether it is a teacher, doctor, or a lawyer. Suppose if you are not well, what you will do? You will go to a doctor. So doctor will check you, he will observe you, he will diagnose, and he will give a medicine to you. In return, what you are giving to the service done by the doctor? You are giving the fees to the doctor. So services also money are also been done with the help of money. For some there might be actual transfer of money taking place. For some promise to pay money later. Yes. Suppose if you are purchasing a car worth 14 lakh rupees, what you will do at a time? The cash can be paid. At the same, another way is we'll pay the checks, or we'll make a dealing, we'll make a promise that we'll pay the money later. Then installment basis will clear the amount. So both ways exchange can be done. So have you ever wondered why transactions are made in money? The reason is simple. Reason: a person holding money can easily exchange with any other commodity. You have money, whatever's money you have, with that money you can exchange whatever you want. You can go to the market and you can purchase with the available money whatever you feel like having it. Thus everyone prefers to receive payments in money and then exchange money for the things they want. Take the case of shoe manufacturer. Here they are giving an example of shoe manufacturer. He want to sell shoes in the market and buy it. So what he will do? First, he will sell the shoes. Okay, so that's what first he'll exchange the shoes and he'll get the money for the exchange of shoes. Then what he'll do, that money he will go to a grocery store and there he will purchase the wheat. So what happened here, money acted as a medium of exchange. Okay, suppose think that there is no money at all, then how there is no medium of exchange called money, then how the shoe seller can get the wheat in exchange? Then he had to search. Imagine how difficult it would be for the shoe manufacturer to have directly exchange the shoes. Then what he has to do, he has to search for a person who is having wheat. Second, he has to make sure that he wants the wheat. Only then exchange is possible? No. He would have to look for wheat growing farmer who not only wants to sell wheat but also wants shoes in exchange. Then both the parties should agree. Only then exchange is possible. Such an exchange is referred to as double coincidence of wants. Let's say this word once again. Double coincidence of wants means both the parties wants, in the sense what they want, should coincide, should match. Only then exchange is possible. Otherwise it's not possible. Suppose you and your friend are there. Today you have purchased a new pen and your friend has purchased a new pencil. You want to try his pencil and he wants to try your pen. What you will do, you will exchange with each other and you will try. You have purchased a new pen but your friend has nothing to exchange with. Then is it not difficult? Yes. The problem of double coincidence of wants they have explained through this cartoon. So what happened here? So here this person, shoe seller, I will give you shoes for your wheat. Because no money there to exchange, so what they had to do, they had to directly exchange. Then what the wheat seller is saying, I don't need shoes, I need clothes. Then exchange won't be possible. Can they satisfy their demands? No. Let's have a look at another person. I want shoes but I don't have wheat. So it's a lot of problem. This type of system was known as barter system, which was prevalent when people started living together, when first civilization started. Before this evolution of money is done, people used it to exchange the goods. At that time when civilization started, population is very less, very few people used it to stay together. So they used to exchange for the goat, rice, wheat, so exchange of vegetables with the pot maker. So that time it was, but as the population started growing, as the demands and needs started growing, then this type of double coincidence of wants has become very difficult. Barter system has become very difficult. Let's have a look at this barter system. A barter system is an old method of exchange. The system has been used for centuries and long before money was invented. People exchanged services and goods for other services and goods in return. So have a look here, books, apple, then, but there is no proper measurement. It's very difficult. That's what they are showing here. What is this known as? This is barter system. Essential feature is double coincidence of wants. Both the people should exactly desire what they want to sell, exchange. Then in contrast, in an economy where money is used, which we are doing at present, no need to look for the double coincidence of wants. Just we need to make sure that we have enough money to purchase. So it is no longer necessary for the shoe manufacturer to look for a farmer who will buy his shoe. At the same time, he need to sell his shoe to them. So no need of this double coincidence of wants if we have money with him. What the shoe manufacturer has to do, all he has to find a buyer for his shoes. A person comes, buy shoes, give money to him. So once he has got money as an exchange, medium of exchange, then what he will do, he will pay that money and then he will purchase wheat or any other commodity whichever he feels like. Thus money acts as an intermediate in the exchange process. That's what it is called as medium of exchange. So here two questions are given which you have to answer me during the time of discussion. Now starts our second topic, modern forms of money. Is the money same when the first money invented and the present money we are using, is it the same? There is lot of evolution in the money. There are lot many changes. So here they have given the pictures also. So if from the early time when people started living together, civilization and then monarchical form, king's rule have come, then how this money has started evolving. So you can see first early punch marked coins, they used to mark punch as a recognition that this is from this territory, this belongs to this territory, something around 2500 years old. Then comes the Gupta coins. During the time of Gupta Empire, they have released Gupta coins. It acted as a medium of exchange. Then came the Tughlaq coin. During the time of Mughal rule, Tughlaq coins have come into being. And then gold coins. Okay, gold mohar. It is known as mohars from during the time of Akbar's reign, Mughal Empire time. Then as the time passed on, then the modern coin has started blooming up, and now latest every one of you know coins to paper currency notes to credit card, debit card, then online transactions, then Bitcoin. So these all we can refer to as evolution of money. Have a look at this picture, evolution of money, how it has happened. First there was exchange of direct barter system. Then they started exchanging with grains and cattle. And then came the exchange with coins. Then came metal coins. Then came paper money. Now plastic cards, electronic media, online transactions. Now this cryptocurrency is the latest one, which is not yet legalized by the government, but still it is going on. We call it as cryptocurrency, not yet legalized. We have seen that money is something that can be acted as a medium of exchange and transactions that we have discussed in the above. We are using money as a medium of exchange. We are paying the money, we are getting in exchange whatever we want. Before the introduction of these coins, a variety of objects are used as money. First we can call it as in the early ages, Indians used grains and cattle as money. Thereafter came the use of metallic coins. Okay, metallic coins like gold, silver, copper and coins. In this, after grains and cattle, then we started using gold and silver, which has value. We call it as intrinsic value, which has its own value. Okay, suppose if gold coin is distributed, we can use it in another way, different way. Then came the paper currency, the modern forms of money, paper currency. But if you look at this paper currency, what are those? Paper notes and coins. Does the paper currency have value of its own? Like you might have got currency notes, 10 rupee on your paper. If you write 10 rupee and if you go and give in the market, will they take? The same, no, paper currency. It doesn't have any value of its own. It doesn't have any intrinsic value. But even then people are accepting it as currency. Why? What is the reason? The same point they are trying to explain here. Say here, modern currency is not made of precious metals such as gold, silver or copper. Neither like grain or cattle. It does not have any intrinsic value of its own. It's just a paper. It does not have value of its own. Then why it is accepted as a medium of exchange? Because this is authorized by the government of the country. If you take a currency note and if you see, you can find the signature there. You can find the name Reserve Bank of India. Signature of RBI governor sign you can find on a currency note. At the same time, it is legal also. Indian law also has given a chance to it, has made it legal. Like what is the first point? Why we are accepting? Suppose the question comes like that. First point, it is authorized by the government of the country. Second one, and RBI issues this currency on behalf of the central government. Third point, as per Indian law, no other individual or organization has the right to issue the currency. Only RBI will issue and we have to use it. So, moreover, the law legalizes the use of rupee as a medium of exchange. So, no one can refuse. If you go and give 100 rupee notes, the shopkeeper cannot say it's just a paperwork, I don't go for it, I won't take it. It's legal. He has to accept it and return. He has to return whatever you want. He has to use it as a medium of exchange. So, no one can refuse it. No individual in India can legally refuse a payment made in rupee. Hence, the rupee is widely accepted as a medium of exchange.